Krisi bila worries. Krisi na Naivas is now on. With the biggest and tastiest offers this festive season. Every day, 350 winners Kula shopping voucher worth 2,000 shillings. Plus over 800 goats to be won across Naivas branches countrywide. All you need to do is simply present your Naivas card when you shop for your chance to be one of the winners. Funga 2020 bila finyo. Krisi bila worries. Krisi na Naivas. Naivas saves you money.
Welcome to Good Life, where we are all about you. And when we say you, we mean all of you, including the little ones. We're all about ensuring you feel better and healthier, so you enjoy every moment with the ones closest to you. A smile on your face is what we're about. That's why you'll always be welcome back to Good Life pharmacies across Kenya with the same smile on every visit. Good Life. We're all about you.
Kila siku unapokaza mshipi, unapozidi bidii, unapoongeza maarifa ya kuimarisha maisha, unapoongeza nguvu ya kukusongeza mbele, unaposherehekea na kuwakaribisha wengine kufurahia nawe, unapojijenga kibiashara na kuonyesha penzi lako, unga unaozaidisha uko papo hapo, kuzaidisha utamu wa maisha kwa kila namna, kila mara. Familia ya Ajab imeongezeka ili uzidishe mapishi. Mambo ni Ajab.
We'll take nothing for granted and always remember to taste the simple joys. Enjoy the magic of Christmas with Coca-Cola.
This is NTV.
Good afternoon. Hope your Friday is shaping up well. This is our 1 o'clock news update, and we start on the political note. ODM party leader Raila Odinga is at the BBI Secretariat for a ceremony that will see him receive signature booklets from 13 regions in the country. He is speaking at the moment, so let's listen in.
Zaidi kutushinda sisi, tutasalimu amri. Na nyinyi mkishindwa msalimu amri. Hiyo ndio ukweli wa mambo. Kwa hivyo mimi sitaki kusema zaidi kupita hapa. Nataka kumalizia tena kutoa shukrani kwa Wakenya wazalendo ambayo wameshughulikia hii maneno, ambayo wameenda katika pembe zote za nchi yetu na kusanya masahihi. Nawaambia, nasema heko kwenu. Asanteni sana kwa kuni. Lakini hiyo ni mwanzo. Mambo bado sasa. Sasa ndio mapambano. Tutaenda sasa kuuza hii mswada kila katika pembe zote za Kenya. Alafu baadaye kura itafanyika na tunasema baadaye tunasema shukrani kwa kila mtu. Kwa hivyo haya mengi Nasema asanteni sana kwa kutusikiliza. Shukran.
Asante sana Your Excellency. Naomba makofi mazuri kwa waziri.
That's the ODM party leader at the BBI Secretariat, where he is receiving the signatures that have so far been received from around the country, or taken from around the country for the BBI. And we will be getting more details. Vincent Odor is on that beat. Meanwhile, Deputy President William Ruto's proposal to hold a referendum on the proposed amendment to the Constitution, together with the general election, continues to elicit mixed reactions. Turkana Governor Josephat Nanok, who flanked the Deputy President when he made the proposal to defer the referendum, has again voiced his support. Nakuru Governor Lee Kinyanjui and Chama cha Mashinani Party leader Isaac Ruto have, however, opposed the idea and have also taken issue with the Deputy President's proposal that Kenyans be allowed to vote on the issues and not to be forced to adopt the amendments indiscriminately.
Muna masanduku 7, karibu 8, nafikiri ni 8 ya kuchagua viongozi. Kwani ikiongezwa sanduku lingine moja juu, mtashindwa kuchagua ile kitu mnataka.
There cannot be that yes but. A yes with an N in between there. Maybe you don't know whether you call it yes or what you want to call it.
Surely, what's all these stories about? You want us to hold all these things because you have an argument about an ombudsman. An ombudsman. And you are telling us the president cannot appoint him even after parliament has approved his name.
On something that will touch most lives, actually most households in the country, the cost of living is set to go up starting next month as the government moves to reverse some of the tax breaks announced earlier in the year to cushion them from the harsh impact of COVID-19. Effective 1st of January 2020, the corporate tax and the individual tax rates revert from the current 25% to 30%, while the value-added tax reverts to 16% from the current 14%. However, the 100% tax relief for those earning less than 24,000 shillings per month remained. The National Treasury says the tax breaks will have denied the government at least 65 billion shillings in revenue by the end of this month, something which has and will continue to affect implementation of the government's priority programs. Now, it is, however, unclear how Treasury seeks to reverse these relief measures without the required parliamentary process. To what we could consider as development news, the Kenya Ferry Services is set to be dissolved and its functions transferred to the Kenya Ports Authority, implying Likoni Floating Bridge, whose construction is in the final stages, will be managed by the Kenya Ports Authority. This was made public by Infrastructure Principal Secretary Paul Maringa, who inspected the construction works. Kevin Mutai is at the inspection ceremony and function and now joins us with more details on the same. Kevin?
Well, indeed, good afternoon, Mark. And the construction of the Likoni Floating Bridge was an intervention by the government to stem the spread of COVID-19. This is according to the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructure, which said this morning that the Committee on COVID-19 realized that transmission of COVID-19 here in the country was greatly, being through the transport sector, and therefore the President intervened together with the officials from the Ministry of Transport and decided to come up with this particular project, the 1.9 billion shillings floating bridge in Liwatoni. Now listen to this, Mark. There's another mega project that the government is also planning to undertake probably by next year. We are being informed by the Transport Cabinet Secretary James Macharia, who accompanied other government officials, including Transport Principal Secretary Paul Maringa, to inspect the Liwatoni bridge, CS Mashara said that government is currently undertaking plans to construct what they identified as the Mombasa Gateway. This is a mega transport project that will be connecting directly the island and the mainland in the crossing channel, whereby it's a bridge that will be 70 meters high, and the project is currently under discussions, and we also understand that it will be fully funded by JICA and a Japan program, and this together with the government of Kenya. And also we understand that the designs of this particular mega project is underway, and that the tendering process will be done in June 2021. So CS Macharia, who was here, also reiterated that the Liwatoni floating bridge is at 92% right now, and expecting that the bridge will be open to public next month. We also understand that the CS categorically stated that the management of this particular bridge will be done by the Kenya Ports Authority. This is because that it lies with its jurisdiction, and of course also noting that the remaining part will be done very soon, and that is only installing the pontoons. That is the 150 area that has the capability of adjusting to allow cargo vessels dock and leave the port of Mombasa. I don't know if my director has an upsound from the Cabinet Secretary James Macharia, who was at the Likoni floating bridge. I understand that it's not right there at the moment, but definitely will be able to come up with this particular story and highlight all the key concerns that the government has put in place to ensure that they decongest the huge traffic snarl-ups and the congestions at the Likoni crossing channel. And of course also in not more than a month or 2 months to come, some ferries will be withdrawn from the channel, and those that will be remaining will only be able to accommodate only vehicles that are crossing the channel, as those people who will be crossing on foot will now be using this Likoni floating bridge. What we also understand is that there are particular concerns, especially to allow even ambulances to be able to pass that particular area, and other critical services that definitely will be required at that particular area, including even coming up with a bus terminal at both sides, so as to allow commuters traverse and move swiftly between the two areas. So this is definitely a story that we'll be looking at, and definitely will have packages to highlight all the key areas with regards, with concerns that the government now is putting in place to ensure that the Likoni crossing channel is decongested once and for all. Back to you, Mark.
Kevin Tai, from that actual Building Bridges initiative, which we hope will transform lives of the locals there and the economy. Let's now go to the education sector, where Cabinet Secretary George Magoha has called for calm among university students following the announcement of a fee increase that will see students pay 3 times what they used to pay before. Magoha has urged stakeholders to be understanding with all parents, as the economic strain may affect their financing of the education of their children.
University students are a force that the government would rather appease than contend with. When they feel aggrieved, the discomfort is felt by everyone, more so motorists who suffer losses as reason gives way to distraction. Maybe that is why school fees for universities has remained constant for the last 30 years. Now, the 30 years seem to add up as the ministry looks to make a huge adjustment upwards.
One may argue that it is true and fair and just to increase school fees after over 30 years. But increasing it 4 times perhaps may require some element of debate so that there is some form of consensus.
The adjustment is expected to bring the fees from 16,000 shillings to 48,000 shillings. The consultation would have to happen sooner rather than later, before physical learning resumes at the public universities.
This has been tried before, and as far as I remember during my time, it ended with a lot of destruction of university property. because the student just said no. So we need to engage them and involve them in the process.
We may be shooting ourselves and those students in the foot if again from January we tell them we are increasing their fees from 16 to 48,000 shillings, yet they can wait for another 4 years without employment, not to be able to repay their loans, Honorable Speaker.
Meanwhile, the Cabinet Secretary has urged for patience amongst educators to help parents be able to assist their children with limited pressure.
We are aware everybody is feeling the pinch, including my most humble self. And nobody is going to enjoy expecting parents to behave the way they have behaved in the past. But they should not be afraid. They should just be prepared so that whatever level of money they have at the time the schools are opening, we shall work together with them.
Charity Mwangi, NTV.
The forecast of next year doesn't look quite clear, but hey, we will push on as much as we can. Chief Justice David Maraga is in Nakuru inspecting the expansion of law courts in one of his last assignments as Chief Justice. David Maraga is expected to exit the office of Chief Justice in mid-January 2021 after tenure, which has been characterized by landmark rulings, including the nullification of the 2017 presidential election. Bridget Singana now joins us live with an update in the Nakuru visit. Actually, I'm told the function is ongoing. We'll be able to listen in. One of the last functions here by CJ Maraga.
And I know it is indeed your home. For me, it is my home in my heart and spirit. Because the period between 2009 and 2012, I served in this great county, in this old building here in the High Court. And I have great things to remember this county for. It is while I was serving in this county in the High Court that I took a lesson in confirmation at the ACK Church, St. Christopher, where I attended class with as young as 12-year-old boys and girls. And I told the provost I didn't want to be treated differently, that I have a different teacher elsewhere. So I joined the young stars and we sat together, we sang together until I finished my course and I was confirmed and I started receiving Holy Communion in this town. It was in this town, as Caleb Nyamwangi will tell you, that I enrolled to read for my postgraduate. And I got my master's in this town. It is again in this town that while serving in this old building, I applied and was appointed a judge of the Court of Appeal. And to avoid Judge Ngugi asking me what else I left Nakuru with, I want to confirm that I came with one wife and left with the same wife. And therefore, my Lord, as I stand here, and I'm greatly honored to have been invited to be part of this history, to witness the official opening of this grand building. Although your Lordship has, during your tenure of office, opened formally, I'm told this afternoon there are 10 courts. This is the 10th one. This is the first one I've been invited to attend. And I attribute this invitation to two factors, because it was during the period when I served here, together with Mr. Justice Emukule, retired, who was the judge in charge, that the whole idea of putting up a court like this was conceptualized. We were involved with him and the chief magistrate of the day in the planning and in the designing. We were involved in providing ideas on what it should have and what should not have. We approved the architectural drawings which culminated in this great building. The intention at the time when we were discussing this was to have premises that could accommodate the Court of Appeal in order to address the perennial disruption of work occasioned each time the Court of Appeal came to Nakuru on circuit. And that would be a whole week wasted by both the judges of the High Court at the time and the magistrates, because they would all be told to relocate or stay at home when the Court of Appeal was here. So we thought it was a good thing to have a separate building for the Court of Appeal.
Remarks there by Justice William Ouko, the President of the Court of Appeal, just before he introduces CJ Maraga, who is in Nakuru to inspect the expansion of the law courts there. One of his last assignments in office as he leaves in just under a month. We take a break here. As soon as we are able to see that he's taken to the podium, we'll listen in and continue with more from our bulletin. Stay with us.
Avoid the crowds and use your card. Pay with your Absa debit card at any point of sale. Or better yet, shop online. Stay safe.
Raukia siku njema na tunukiwa offers kila siku. Pata offers zote mahali pamoja ili uongeze zaidi, utume SMS zaidi na ubrowse zaidi.
Wewe usijali, tuma namba ya kila supplier kwa hiyo soko. Ndio vile nitaongea na kila mmoja wao. Mwaka sasa. Unajua leo ndio siku yangu ya kutafutia hii mmea yangu bei nzuri sokoni. Na kuna mtu nimepewa namba yake nimpigie nimuelezee polepole. Ndio unajua na mama wengi sana huko sokoni. Ni ofa gani mzuri leo?
Very good. Piga *444 hasi utunukiwe Credo double.
Sio kwangu, rudi.
For 50 years, Kenya Reinsurance Corporation has been a reliable provider of reinsurance security and services for most classes of insurance business to over 265 companies in over 62 countries in Africa, Middle East and Asia. Guided by strong core values and certified on 2 global ISO standards, Kenya Re aims to provide seamless stability. To ensure we serve our customers better, we have regional offices in Cote d'Ivoire, Zambia and Uganda. Kenya Re, celebrating 50 years of reinsurance excellence.
When it comes to pimple care, Acne's Creamy Wash contains multiple vitamins and removes excessive oil and dirt. Acne's Toner rejuvenates skin. Acne's Sealing Gel fights bacteria. Use Mentholatum Acne's for clear and smooth skin every day.
Chrissy Bila worries. Christina Naivas is now on with the biggest and tastiest offers this festive season. Every day, 350 winners Kula shopping voucher worth 2,000 shillings. All you need to do is simply present your Naivas card when you shop for your chance to be one of the winners. Naivas saves you money.
New Nestle Ceravita with Grain Smart, a smart combination of vitamins, iron, and minerals that gives children the nutrients they need for a great start for school. New Nestle Ceravita with Grain Smart, also available in a small, affordable pack.
As young people, we have a role in promoting a peace and inclusive society. We need to build a critical thinking skills that open each one of us to embrace diversity and to reduce prejudice. Our various diversities as a young people are wide and unique. Therefore, arm us with numerous abilities to build and steer our nation towards prosperity. As we approach 2022, we should not let our cherished diversities be exploited at the expense of our nation's unity. So be one, stay united, and keep change for our nation. Thank you.
It's a full house this season when the family comes together.
To reconnect.
One thing we do, we watch GoTV. We love it.
Is everyone's favorite place this festive season.
Usimiss out. Get GoTV decoder kwa shilingi 1999.
GoTV. Love it.
Jana ulipotea hivyo baada ya kupepa ule mtemu kwa potapota ukaenda hivyo.
Unajua huyo mrembo alinipeleka hadi kwa nyumba. Nikasema mimi siedi kugulalisha masikio. Shughuli.
Jawa, mbona mjipendi?
Kwa nini?
Yaani unawezaje patana tu na mtu kwa street alafu uende ukachapiane na yeye?
Kalishizo mashine.
Ulitumia raba
Kwani bado mnatumia raba?
Okay, ngoja niulize jamaa. Nani hapa hivi amepimwa hivi majuzi?
Pale kwa Mwangi. Si ni 10 bob.
Sijasema kupimwa weight. Saa hizi kupimwa HIV ni haraka na ni bure. Unaweza pimwa kwa clinic na bado unaweza jipimia kwa nyumba yako wewe mwenyewe na self test kit 500 peke yake.
Niende nipimwe, nichipate niko positive. Unajua hakuna kitu naogopa kama hiyo.
Kuko na madawa na kuko na counseling na utaishi maisha yako normal tu. Kuko na HIV si eti ni mwisho.
Wewe uko nayo?
Mimi nilishapima.
Unapoendelea kujikinga kutokana na HIV, tafadhali zingatia taratibu zote za serikali za kujikinga na virusi vya corona.
Afya bora, maisha bora. Jipime, jiinue.
Welcome back to a 1 o'clock news update. The government says it will continue surveying and subdividing the 1.57 million acre Galana Kulalu irrigation project in anticipation of attracting investors in the area, despite concerns raised by members of parliament. Speaking after inspecting the survey land program, Land's Principal Secretary Nicholas Muraguri said the subdivision has put into consideration the interest of local communities such as pastoralists, adding that survey works as well as subdivision of the land will be completed by June 2021. There's the expansive land there. There have been concerns by members of parliament, investors, as well as local communities, members that the process of subdivision of the land, as well as allocation, was not transparent and that the project had failed its viability test.
We provide what we have talked about. They need a road, a good road. They need to have the river passable. We need a bridge over here. We need energy, of course. Like on this camp where we are, there is no energy. They are using a generator, so the overheads are very expensive. And until we provide all those all that infrastructure, we may not have gotten to that. It's arbitrary.
Parents in Loitokitok, Kajiado South Sub-County have raised concern over a sharp rise in teen pregnancy and female circumcision. Cases of FGM and teenage pregnancies have been on the rise, especially after the closure of schools due to the coronavirus pandemic. With schools scheduled to reopen in 2021 January, the dire situation can only get worse. A campaign to end teenage pregnancy kicked off in Kajiado South, targeting girls in school. The campaign is aimed at sensitizing them against retrogressive cultural practices that result in early marriage and teen pregnancy. The campaign is in partnership between children officers and non-governmental organizations in the area.
Kwa sababu ni wakati ya corona, watoto wako manyumbani na anapata shida nyingi sana.
Watoto kwanza wameolewa, wengi wamezaa nyumbani. Ndiposa tukaweza kujumuisha leo vijana pamoja na wasichana ili tuweze kuongea na wao na kuhamasisha mambo ya madawa ya kulevya ni mbaya na pia wasiweze kujihusisha na mambo ya ngono.
From the negatives in society and those working to reduce it to those who are giving some help and charity. Players in the corporate sector have been urged to give back to the community, especially in this tough economic times made worse by the COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking during a drive to hand over a 4-roomed house to help a homeless woman who had been abandoned by her family in Ivovwani village, Mudhwani area in Machakos County, Optimum Foundation CEO George Washuri has called upon individuals and companies to extend a helping hand to the vulnerable in the society, especially during this unusual festive season, the first under the new normal. Optimum partnered with Machakos County to build and furnish the house for the mother of 5 who had been left by the husband 10 years ago because of her poor health condition.
Juu sikujua kana kwamba nitakanyaga nyumba ya simiti, sikujua kana kwamba nitalala kwa nyumba ya mawe ama yani hata sikuelewa, nilikuwa naona nikaa ndoto.
We have a program whereby we restore the dignity of senior citizens, like this particular one for Mamaduko, and we are urging the corporates, we are urging the MSCs, small enterprises, we are urging entrepreneurs, we are urging business owners, we are urging NGOs out there that we have a responsibility to support the less fortunate.
Call it PR, CSR, whatever you may, it is still something that we can applaud. Thank you for that good example. A European Commissioner for Crisis Management, Janez Lenarčič, has visited Ethiopian refugees who fled the Tigray conflict during his visit to Rakoba region, a reception camp in Sudan's eastern Gedaref state. Tens of thousands of refugees have since poured into eastern Sudan, with many complaining they have not been able to re-establish contact with those left behind or lost contact with due to a communications blackout. The European Union's Crisis Management Commissioner has called on the Ethiopian government to restore communication in its northern Tigray region and called on both sides to cease hostilities. He also urged Ethiopia's government to provide access for humanitarian workers and goods. In November, Ethiopia's Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed ordered military operations against the northern Ethiopian region's ruling party, the Tigray People's Liberation Front, in response to what he said were attacks on Ethiopian Federal Army camps.
This has been going on for too long. Military solution is not going to be a solution. There will be no military solution to this issue, which is primarily a political one. So I call upon the Ethiopian authorities and all others involved, to stop violence.
To the sports scene now, the Kenya Women Premier League 2020-2021 season is set to kick off on the 12th of December. The date was arrived at after a meeting conducted by the Football Kenya Federation and the league's club officials. The new season will feature the top flight and Division 1 leagues, with both having a total of 12 clubs in each of the 2 zones. A proposed women's regional league is also set to be introduced as a third-tier league, which will feature the competing 8 regions across the country.
I'm sure all the teams will be affected because the players have been staying at home for quite a long time without practicing. So, of course, the physical aspect of it, they are not ready for physical, they're not physically fit. 100%. And also, COVID-19 is a new thing for us, for everyone. So the players, I'm sure, also mentally they will be affected because they are with these new restrictions and guidelines that are put there to safeguard them against COVID-19. They are not. It's a new thing, especially like there are no fans who will be allowed to come and watch them play, and also there's some other things that they're supposed to do before the game.
Still on the local scene, Wazito FC will look to redeem themselves from the 4-0 humiliation suffered at the hands of Kariobangi Sharks in round 1 of the Football Kenya Federation Premier League when they face Vihiga United at Utalii grounds this afternoon. Now, Vihiga United, returning to the top flight from the National Super League, also went down in their first match back, albeit by a lesser margin, 1-0 to Kakamega Homeboys. The KCB and Nairobi City Stars at Kasarani will provide the other day's action, beg your pardon. Excuse me. The Bankers opened their campaign with the convincing 3-0 win over Posta Rangers and will be hoping to keep momentum against the returnees who stunned Nzoia Sugar 2-0 at Narok. Now, it had been 271 days since Arsenal fans had last been at their home, the Emirates, and who knows, it's perhaps their presence that buoyed Arsenal to a 4-0 win over Rapid Vienna.